Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. In this edition, we will be talking everything Tottenham Hotspur and, of course, previewing the Galatasaray game, which, of course, takes place on Thursday. We will also be looking back at the great week that we have had, wins against Manchester City and against Aston Villa. We will hear from 3 Galatasaray fans giving their opinions ahead of Thursday's game in the Europa League. I will also be asking the panel to predict their lineup ahead of Thursday's game. Joining me is channel regular Craig Dearman. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, feeling a bit better now. I think I'm over the worst of the man flu I had, so voice seems a bit better. But yeah, the game's coming thick and fast now, so all good till the next international break, of course.
Absolutely. Joining us also is channel regular James Black and, of course, stadium singer James Black. James, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, same as Craig. I feel I'm buzzing. That was a massive week, wasn't it? It's a week's a long time in football. I think after Palace, we was all down because such a bad display, but that was incredible to do what we did. And the other thing I thought about that Villa game, like they rested all their players, didn't they, in midweek? So we was running a little bit more empty, and we still outfought them. So yeah, I'm buzzing. That was a great week for us.
James cannot wait to talk about the football. James, before we talk about the football, of course, you have put together an EP. Tell us all about it, because you're still raising money for the Tottenham Foodbank. Yeah,
so basically what I've done, I've recorded the stadium gigs that I play at the Spurs Stadium every home game. I had mics up in the ceiling and recorded the crowd. Then I've taken the crowd sounds, taken them into the studio, got the Supergrass drummer, Danny Goffey, he's a Spurs fan, I play over the top of it. We produced it. I've just swallowed all the costs of it myself and given every penny to Foodbank. And you can donate by the link you just saw there. If you go to crowdfunder/P Tottenham, crowdfunder.co.uk/P/Tottenham, then you can donate directly, or by every time you stream it, every penny goes to Tottenham Foodbank. So if you can help that way as well, that'd be amazing. It's amazing what they do. They're a lifeline. It's not just a food bank. They're a lifeline for so many people in the area with the cost of living crisis. And yes, can't speak highly enough of those guys.
Well, keep up the great work, James. We all love your work and what you do. So it's fantastic. So keep it up. Joining us for the very first time is Daryll Lindridge. Daryll, great to have you here. How are you?
Very well, Chris. Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you so much. Daryll, let's start the show with you. I just want to get your thoughts and feelings right now. How you're feeling as a Spurs fan? What have you made of the season? What have you made of Ange Postecoglou's time at Tottenham?
Well, it's just all for me after the start that we had last season, coming into this season, and the inconsistency that we've had. Home games have been good, away not so good. But it just seems in the last maybe 3 or 4 games, apart from the Crystal Palace game, we sort of got it together. So 2 massive wins, City and Villa, but they're not just wins, they're convincing wins as well. We just showed that when we want to do it, we can play. And we're starting to see some standout players now, particularly I think Sarr came into his own the other day. Just absolutely immense. And, it just sort of, once you get a few of those players playing together, they all seem to gel, and it's just constant attack. And that's as Spurs fans, that's all we want to see.
Daryll, what have you made of the job that Ange Postecoglou has done so far? Because it has been fair. Well, it is fair to say that even this season, as soon as we lose a game, there seems to be a lot of criticism. Everyone enjoys the wins, but Ange has said many times there's always going to be bumps in the road.
Yeah, I think like Palace, as soon as we lose, everybody's so quick to jump on his tactics, his means, his ways. And then as soon as we have a convincing win, he's the best thing since sliced bread. So I just think as Spurs fans, we need to get on board with what he's trying to do, give him some time. I believe in him. I think he's got I think he's got the majority of fans on board, and I think if we stick with him, we've got January coming up. I know we've got a few players to come in. I think we'd be okay. I think we'd do okay. And I just think, the next few games are important, particularly Premier League. where if we can string those wins together, you know, it's so close to the top there that we can be in there. You know, top 4. You know, easily top 6, I think. But we're in with a shout with top 4 if we can string these wins together. But we have to up our away game.
We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. So please do let us know how you are feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now and what you've made of the week. Beating Manchester City in the League Cup and, of course, beating Aston Villa 4-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. Craig, let's come to you. We'll talk about the Villa game in a second. But how are you feeling right now? You know, we're 10 games into the Premier League season. We're through to the quarterfinals of the League Cup. You know, 3 wins out of 3 in the Europa League. It's not been bad, has it?
No, it's not been bad at all. And I think we're all, as Daryll touched on there, we're all prone to getting involved in getting far too low when things are not going our way. And probably far too high when things do, although I'm not saying don't enjoy a win. That's why we watch football. But I think it's the low part of it that annoys me more than anything. How everybody gets so down, nudge out. You see coming back soon as we lose a game. I just think we have to take it for what it is. You can't win every single game of football. You're not going to play well in every game of football. Although saying that, we've played well in the league, certainly all bar one half against Brighton and that Palace game. Apart from that, I think we've played very well, which you can't say necessarily even the first 10 games of last season. That game away to Luton when Bissouma got sent off, we didn't play well in that game at all, but we managed to get over the line. Different ways to win football matches, of course there are, but you know, I still love this way of playing football. And does seem to adapt. It has changed things slightly. You know, we went with a double pivot on Sunday, of course, whereas sometimes we'll just stick with the 1 and then 2 perhaps more attacking players. So he does change things, and he certainly on Sunday he made the right subs at the right time. So he does know what he's doing, and we've just got to. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. We've just got to stick with the process and just enjoy it and take it a game at a time. Old cliche, I know. But 2 more games before the international break. Let's hope we can get something out in Turkey and then finish it off with a nice win against Ipswich.
Absolutely. James, let's come to you. How are you feeling right now? And for someone who performs at the stadium week in, week out, I suppose it does help when we win matches.
Oh, yeah, it goes from being the easiest job in the world to the worst job in the world, to be honest with you. It's quite, well, at the minute, I'm the same as the guys. I'm buzzing. Like, you take away that Brighton and Palace game, and we're in half the Brighton game, and we have performed really well. Maybe obviously the Coventry game, but we made so many changes for that. But there seems to be a bit of a change here. I think he's addressed, although it's a bad time to bring this up, I think he's overall addressed the set piece issues not as bad as last season. I think statistically, I don't know all the ins and outs, but statistically we're a lot better off there. Although there's still some issues there. You take that away, and we're right up there. Like Man City, Woolwich, Liverpool. They've all had bad times already this season, you know. So yeah, I'm buzzing at the minute. I think we're the ones to watch. I'm not saying we're going to go out there and win the league, but I can certainly see a cup on the horizon. And yeah, you're right. Playing at the stadium, like you know what life's like as a Spurs fan. Anyway, imagine if you were a Spurs-related business and it's like either goes bad or great. I was sitting there watching it, thinking when we 1-0 down, it's just the worst thing. But what I did this at half time was play some Spurs songs. That's quite hard to do. Because you don't know who wants to hear what. You don't want to annoy anybody. You're feeling a bit low, but I could just see that pattern of play that we're going to turn it around. So I just played a few Spurs songs at half time, seemed to buoy a few people up, and yeah, I'm happy overall. I'm happy. Yeah, take away that 1.5 games, and I'm happy with what we're doing. I think point for point with the games from last season, I think we're 3 points ahead, aren't we, from what we were. If you take that exact game and swap it round, we're about 3 points ahead, probably a better goal difference, better XG, conceded less goals, you know. So yeah, it's better overall, even though maybe we was higher up in the league, was really higher up in the league at this point last season.
Yeah.
You take game for game, and we're better off.
James, when you look back at the past week, the win against Manchester City, of course, puts us now into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. We'll play Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. and then the win against Aston Villa. Now, some fans were even booing at half-time because they didn't like that performance in the opening 45 minutes against Villa. But, of course, we turned it around. We got 4 second-half goals. How would you describe the week? Because it does feel great to be in the quarterfinals of the League Cup because, of course, a lot of Spurs fans want Spurs to go strong in cup competitions, particularly the League Cup. It was the last competition we won, the last trophy we won, many years ago, 2008. So hopefully Ange can continue to go strong in this competition. I know a lot of people have said, yeah, but Pep put out a weakened team. They had lots of injuries. So what? You still got to go and win the game, and you still played a decent team. And also, let's get your thoughts on the Aston Villa game, because you talk about singing songs at half time. That must have been difficult because not a lot of people were happy at that point. But Spurs showed great resilience, and Kulusevski went in that changing room at half time and said, if we score 1, we'll score 4. That's exactly what we did.
Yeah. Well, the difference is, like, if this is under Mourinho and under Conte, I wouldn't be sitting there at half time doing that. I would just would sort of see the writings on the wall and stuff. But with this Ange team, I think especially since that second half Brighton performance, we've been performing very, very well in the second half. And I just thought it was there to turn around. As much as I was as unhappy as everybody, I just saw that can turn around, really. And watching it happen, was incredible. I mean, when Sonny got taken off, I questioned that. If I would be completely honest, I thought he'd just done an amazing cross, just been playing well. But he come out to say, didn't he, to look at the bigger picture and stuff. So, and obviously it completely and utterly worked out. But there's been a few of those over the last few games where I think we were 1-0. No, what was West Ham 1-0 and they took? I think, did he take Maddison off? He took an attacking player off. Yeah, it took Maddison off half time, and I questioned that as well, and I was wrong. So each time, I don't know how many Spurs fans are with me questioning that, being completely honest, and we're wrong. So he kind of sees different things than what we see, and it's not just a luck of a sub getting a lucky winner 2-1. He's transforming games with these types of substitutions that we're thinking are wrong, or a lot of people, not to say, well, not maybe some people thought it was right to take Sonny off, but the majority, I feel, would think keep him on. So I think it's quite incredible what he's doing. I think Pape Matar Sarr, I don't know if he did get man of the match, but he was just absolutely unplayable. What he was doing, how he was breaking up that play. This is an Aston Villa side, like I said, that's had 10 of those players were rested. They're in the top of that Champions League table. They're really buzzing. They're really purring. They love coming here. And we would not just beat them, we've just outfought them as well as outplaying them. And seeing that from the Spurs side was just absolutely superb. And then the same, just touching back onto the Man City game, where they say it's the best Spurs 11 against the kids. Well, we had a younger side. And they had overall, by the end of the play, they had more normal starters than we had on that pitch. So it depends what narrative the press want to go with. But we had a younger side out there, and we had less first teamers by the end of the game in there. They didn't have Haaland, but we didn't have Son. So I think it was 2 brilliant performances.
Daryll, how would you describe the 2 performances, particularly against Aston Villa? And as I mentioned, some fans were unhappy at half time, but many people have criticised Ange Postecoglou since his arrival at Tottenham, saying no plan B, but he seems to be making, like James pointed out there, these big decisions.
Do you know what? I think sometimes as a Spurs fan, looking back on past seasons, we've never had the luxury of having someone come off the bench to change a game. We've never had that quality sitting on the bench. It's always been a like-for-like substitution, or someone's injured, but we've never had the luxury of bringing on a Pape Sarr or a Maddison, that can come on and change the dynamics of the team, change the game. I think like the other week where we were being overrun in midfield, so he brought on Sarr to do all the running, to do the carrying. So it's just nice that if we're 1-0 down at half time, you as a Spurs fan now, you've still got that belief that we can come back, equalise and go on and get the win, where perhaps we've never had that before in past seasons, where you think we're going to go 1-0 down, then we're going to go 2-0. So I think Ange has maybe changed that and brought in some depth to the squad. He's bringing the youngsters. He's got the belief in the youngsters as well. and as we've seen, the youngsters that he is bringing through can actually do it. They can change games. So the Man City game, the Villa game, you know, they were both convincing wins. You know, especially when you're down, and when we came back to 1-1, I thought, well, I believed that we could go on and, you know, we were going to score another, because that's how we were looking. We were just attack. So, you know, and that's what us Spurs fans expect, and that's what we want to see. So when you have games like Palace where we're not able to do that, and our thinking of Spurs fans is different, because when we watch them play, we just know they're not going to come back from this. So, but to play those two convincing wins against City and Villa, it's just like the guys say, you're just buzzing after those, because you're then looking forward to the next game.
Daryll, which players this season have really impressed you? Because James said there, Pape Matar Sarr. I think all of us on the podcast after the Villa game said Pape Matar Sarr should have been man of the match, but Dominic Solanke got the award in the end. But who has really impressed you this season, and perhaps who has surprised you?
Yeah, Pape Sarr, I think, is just stand out, definitely, for me. He was unplayable, as James said it the other night. Just so absolutely all over the place. He was on the end of everything. Other players that spring to, obviously Mickey van der Ven, what a player, you know, what a signing he was, and I think we are going to miss him for the next few games. So we need him back. But obviously Mikey Moore, you know, what a find he is. But again, I think we need to protect him. We just need to bring him on at key moments. I don't think we can expect too much of him. I think just let him do his thing, let him surprise us in what he does. But yeah, I think Deku as well, you know, he's having a good season. Wherever he's playing, whether it's the number 10 role on the left, on the right, he's performing. He's making things happen, and that's all we can ask for.
We're getting some Galatasaray fans in already on the chat. We will talk about the Galatasaray game shortly. Good evening from Istanbul. What is the latest injury report on Spurs? Well, we know that Christian Romero will definitely be out for this game and the Ipswich game, but he has just been called up to the Argentina squad. Richarlison, we're waiting to hear on him. Ange Postecoglou's press conference will take place on Wednesday ahead of the game on Thursday. Craig, let me come to you on that point before I get your thoughts on the last week or so. Christian Romero out for at least the Galatasaray and the Ipswich games, but he's just been named in the Argentina squad. A lot of people have criticised this type of situation many times in the past about players then going off on international duty, having missed Spurs games. What do you make of it?
I hate it, honestly. It really winds me up. If he's not fit enough to play against Ipswich, he shouldn't be playing in 2 or 3 days against whoever Argentina have got. He should be staying. I know he loves his country and playing for his country. I get that. You know, I would be exactly the same. But it winds me up. Excuse me, when players can't play for their club, but you see him playing internationally a few days afterwards. It really does. I hope he drops out the squad for Argentina and he rests up at Hotspur way ready for, I think it's Man City we've got next, isn't it? After the international break. So it's not a small game, and it's Man City away, I believe. So yeah, I'd rather have him available for that, to be honest with you, and fight him fit.
Craig, what have you made of the last week? Because I know the League Cup means a lot to you, and you hope that Spurs will go all the way, as I do and as a lot of fans do. But the Aston Villa game, how are you feeling at half-time? Were you still feeling confident that Spurs were going to get back into the game and score 4 in the second half?
I must admit, I didn't see 4 coming, but I was never not confident, if that makes sense, that we wouldn't get back into that. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Villa played badly in that second half." I'd like to think that we actually played really well, and it's so easy just to turn everything around, isn't it, and say Yeah, it was the other team that were rubbish, and that's why we won the game. You know, we've got to give the players and Ange credit where credit is due. You know, we dominated them, as we have a lot of teams this season. And it's not, you know, you could say, you going back to what you said about Manchester City. Yeah, they've got a young, experienced team out. As James said, we had the average age of our team was 24. Theirs was 26. Certainly at the end of the game. So it's a bit unfair. You know, you can criticise, but you've got to give kudos where it's due. And you know, we've won games and got points out of games this season where Tottenham's played well and not allowed the other team to play their football, and they've been pushed back. Villa usually quite an attacking team. Of course, they did come at us, but we pushed them back for long periods of time. The first half, going back to that, we were still dominating. We just couldn't find a way through because, like we all know by now, we were forced to come inside. It was getting the hands chatting at half time. You would think you told our wingers, get some chalk on your boots, as the old saying. Stay wide, spread the play, and that's exactly what we did. And that's how we got the equaliser by Son's wonderful cross.
Craig, some incredible stats were published by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club on Monday. Since Ange Postecoglou became Spurs boss, on 9 occasions we have conceded the opening goal in top-flight home games and then went on to win the game. We have won 24 points from losing positions at home in the top flight in 2024, 10 more points than any other side, and that is Manchester City on 14. I'm going to ask that question again. Do you feel confident? Like when we go 1-0 down, we've seen it recently going 1-0 down at home against West Ham. We saw it again on Sunday. You know, when you hear and see some fans, some of the fan base booing inside the stadium, surely some people, I'm not telling people how to feel, but some people need to have a bit of patience and, you know, realise exactly what's happening with the process with Ange, because we do come back into games. And what I really wanted to focus on as well is the fitness levels of these players. It reminds me back of the Pochettino days when the players are just so fit and keep going to the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. And just coming to that first, Solanke, a run he made in like the 90th minute to track back. I mean, his work rate, I've criticised his finishing, but to be fair to him, looking back, he didn't get as much service as you would like as a centre forward. And he has obviously got 2 goals on Sunday, but he's tracking back for that alone shows how fit these players are. Just keep going and going. Brennan Johnson, the amount of work he did, you know, the right thing to take Sonny off and protect him. He's 32 now. You know, your muscles don't respond as well as they did than they would have done 10 years ago. So it's just looking after players, you know. I'm not bothered. Look, I'd rather us go 3-0 up in the first half and then see how many more we can get in the second half. But that's not football. You know, I'd rather us take the lead in every game. But I'm rarely does it bother me now if we concede first, because I know we're going to come back into it because of all the reasons you've just said and all the reasons I have. It doesn't bother me at all because football's played over 90 plus minutes. It's actually 100, probably 105 minutes in total, that match. So our players are going to keep going and going and going and wear that opposition down. Even if it's the last 20 minutes, it doesn't really bother me. And I'm not really concerned. The only game I was Palace, because you could just see how that game was going to go. That was like the Spurs of old. That was like the Spurs of 2-3 years ago. But up until now, apart from that game, it's not really concerned me at all.
James, let's come to you. Let's have a look at the Premier League table. Spurs are now up to 7th, 16 points from 10 games, 2 points away from the top 4, 9 points away from league leaders Liverpool. Are you happy with where Spurs are right now? Because we could go back into the top 4. I know on our WhatsApp group, you and Craig have been working all of the games out and who's going to beat who at the weekend, and you're telling me that Spurs could be up to 3rd on Sunday afternoon.
That's how I always look at league tables. I'm always looking at them going, right, what's the biggest possibility and how we can do it. I even look at it, I don't know how others do, and go, if we'd have just done this, if we'd have just done that, then we'd be there and we'd be that. But yeah, again, what you touched upon, I think that patience, like the performances have been so good, apart from that 1.5 games, that I'm happy with where we are in terms of as a football team. Not happy with the league position because 7th. Is it 7th?
7th, yeah, but
it could be better than that. But we're 2 points off, and I think we can get in third. I can't remember all the Nostradamus quotes of what gets us in there, but
I could tell you if you want to know.
Arsenal Chelsea draw, is it? Villa are not
That's
going to
it.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Villa won't beat Liverpool, and Newcastle are going to turn over Forest. If that all happens and we beat Ipswich, we're going to the international break third.
And then if you look at the Martin Odegaard team, until Martin Odegaard gets back, then the Martin Odegaard team might be looking at mid-table by Christmas as well. They've got a bit of a tough run coming up, haven't they? So, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy with how we're playing. Just 7th is a bit too low for where our performances deserve, if I'm honest.
Well, I did say on Sunday, James, we're only 2 points away from title contenders Arsenal. So we're not doing too bad then, are we?
No, we're not. No. So they're rocking as well now. I can see them. I can see them like being out the title race soon. Hopefully, do you know what I mean? I don't think they're not the same as last season. But anyway, enough about them.
Just to add a little bit of balance, but certainly not negativity. Spurs could be as high as 3rd on Sunday, but we could be as low as 12th if the results don't go our way. So just to add a bit of balance there. James, let's stay with you for a second, because let's talk about Dominic Solanke. What a finish this was. This picture here on screen. Dinking it over the goalkeeper. He hadn't had a shot on target in 6 games previous to the Aston Villa game. 2 goals on Sunday. What have you made of Dominic Solanke in a Spurs shirt? Because like Craig said, an extremely hard-working player. Ange Postecoglou has raved about him in the press conferences. The journalists are constantly trying to, get a negative quote from Ange. He's certainly not having any of it. He loves the work rate from Solanke. I certainly love his work rate. Unbelievable player. Great finish. I know he got a tap in as well on Sunday, but what have you made of him in a Spurs shirt so far?
I think there's a big difference to being at the stadium to maybe just catching up on the highlights on Match of the Day for Dominic Solanke. When you're at the stadium, you just see exactly how tirelessly he works. It's not just, we're living in a world of data now, so everybody can kind of see it and it's there and it's readily available and people share it everywhere on social media. But anybody in that stadium would see not just the Villa game, but just almost from the start, that work rate is just incredible. So, okay, a striker not getting a shot on target could look like a terrible headline. But even that game, he was working tirelessly, the running off the ball, the finding space for others, and what he does. I don't think Postecoglou goes for an out-and-out one striker and he needs to get all these goals. Postecoglou wants to get it from everywhere, and to get it from everywhere, you need this strong. I think he's got a touch of Harry Kane to him in that strength that we kind of miss. One thing that kind of for me doesn't make sense is every now and again that the tapping around the back, and I always get a bit nervous. We've got some of that strong up the top. Every now and again, just launch it over to him. That's the one thing for me that kind of don't make sense with someone like Solanke. But I think he's been incredible. And that picture you just put up earlier when he scored, you fast forward one tiny frame, he's looking away. He's so confident. He doesn't even have to cross the line, and he knows it's gone in. So I think he's just a very that picture there. I think you cross like half a second, and he starts looking away from the ball because. He's a very confident striker, isn't he? That must come from the hard work that he puts in. I think I was worried about it being offside for that as well. But yeah, brilliant. I think he's been brilliant. I'm not like the whole time been like, yeah, he's absolutely superb. But you work hard, and the Spurs fans will warm to you anyway. But working hard and having that talent and having that finishing, and I think we're all going to be on to a winner.
He's definitely going to score a hatful of goals, though, James, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because it's impossible for someone in that position not to score a hatful of goals because the amount of chances that we create. And when you guys have already said that ball in from Heung-min Son for Brennan Johnson to deliver that quality delivery, unbelievable.
What did he get for Bournemouth? Did he get like 19, 20 or something? I see him getting 5 or 6 more at least than he did for Bournemouth because I think they did have quite a high XG last season, Bournemouth, quite surprisingly, but nowhere near what Tottenham are going to have this season. I think we're probably going to have one of the top 2 or 3 XGs. And yeah, you're right. Having someone like that, he's going to get a hatful.
Daryll, let's come to you. On Dominic Solanke, of course, he started 8 Premier League games, now scored 4 goals, providing 1 assist. He's had 20 shots, XG 5.2, and in the Europa League, he's played 3 games. He started 1 goal, 1 assist. What have you made of him in a Spurs shirt, because a lot of people were doubting £65 million. But he seems to be delivering, not only now the goals, like we saw him score a couple on Sunday, but his work rate, as the guys have already alluded to, is second to none.
Yeah, I think when you pay £65 million for a player, the expectation's always there that, you know, you're going to come in and you're going to score goals. But as we all know, that always isn't the case. So we had to be patient with him. We know he can score goals because of his record last season with Bournemouth. But it was just giving him those chances, that opportunity to come good. And I think Sunday scoring 2 could be the turning point for his season. And I think it will. I think he needed those goals, not just for his confidence, because as James said, he's a confident player already. But it's just having that belief in your ability and your teammates that you can score those goals. You're going to gel as a team. He's going to click with Son. He's going to click with Deku, Johnson. You know, he needs that service from those wide players. And all the time he's got that service, he's going to be knocking in those goals without a doubt. You know, he should be 20 goals a season easy.
Daryll, what do you make of James Maddison's free kick, the first one he scored in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt? World-class finish.
Do you know what? It's always nice to be there when one of those goes in. And it was lovely that it came from Maddison, because that's what we bought him for. We know he's capable of doing that, and you could see it from his celebration that, you know, that's all he's wanted in a Spurs shirt. He's wanted to be able to do that, and for that to go in just to top off that win was just absolutely fantastic. I was buzzing, you know, to see that. I felt privileged to be there, to be honest, to see that go in.
Daryll, I don't know about you, but every single time Heung-min Son is in the starting 11, I just get that sense that we are going to go on and do good things in that final third. And I talk about that delivery in for Brennan Johnson to tap home for our equaliser. How are you feeling about Heung-min Son? Because there is now talk that Spurs are going to activate the 1-year extension. Are you happy?
Yeah, I read that today. I think it's the right move. I really do. He's Mr. Tottenham at the moment, you know, and he has been for the last 10 years since he's been there. He had a rocky start when he first came to us, but like I said, he's Tottenham through and through, and I think we'd be foolish not to give him that extra year on that contract, because when we need him to, he pulls it out of the bag. He just performs. He pulls everyone else with him, and we rely on him, you know. And although he's, you know, his early 30s now, he's still got it. He's still a class player, and he's got goals in him. He's got assists. You know, why not?
Before we talk about the Galatasaray game, which of course takes place on Thursday, 5:45 p.m. UK time kickoff, 8:45 p.m. Turkish time kickoff. Just want to get your thoughts, the three of you, on the Manchester United game in the League Cup. How strong you think Ange Postecoglou will go? Is it now at this stage where you choose your best possible 11? Daryll, let's start with you.
Definitely. He has to. You know, let's go 2-0 up, 3-0 up, and then bring the youngsters on. Let's not start them. You know, let's get the goals on the scoreboard. Let's kill it off with our best 11, and then let's move on. That's my thing. Same with tomorrow night. Thursday night with the Galatasaray game. You know, we've got to get the goals on the board. We've got to score, get in front, and then see the games off. That's my opinion.
I don't know about going 2 or 3-0 up now. Ten Hag's gone. Craig.
Well, still the same team, Chris.
True, very true. Although it might be a little bit more difficult. Craig, how are you feeling ahead of that Manchester United game? Is it the time now that Ange does choose his best possible 11? Because as you mentioned earlier, the games are coming thick and fast. He's got to give opportunities to other players. We're getting injury after injury at the moment, which we'll come on to. Hopefully, Richarlison will be fit and well in the near future. We'll wait and see on the team news from Ange Postecoglou on Wednesday. But best possible 11 for you now we're at the quarter-final stage, because it's only a couple of games and we could be at Wembley Stadium?
I think it's got to be near as damn it. He's obviously sandwiched in between Southampton and Liverpool, I think. It's that week. It's the last week before Christmas, isn't it? It's certainly going to be a couple of days after Southampton. So, and he actually says on the calendar at the moment he's scheduled for the Tuesday, but I can't believe that won't move to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because if we play on the Sunday before, it only gives 2 days rest, of course. But yeah, we've got to go strong in that, because, like you say, we win that, we're in the semis. It's such a good chance to win the trophy. It really is. And having Manchester United, always going to be tough, but having Manchester United at home, I fancy us at home against anyone. So I really do. And we kind of proved that against the champions last week. So, yeah, Man U are going to have the new coach in charge, but he's going to be instilling a new way of playing, still finding out which players he wants. Yes, they're going to have that new manager bounce. Most teams get that. But we've got enough to beat Manchester United. I know for many years you couldn't have said that, but I think we have. I genuinely think we have. And then obviously who you get in the semis is the luck of the draw. But let's get through the quarters first. I think we need to go full strength in that 100%.
James, I suppose it's a silly question for you about going strong, because you want to be recording this cup final song, don't you?
Yeah. I'm the same as the boys, though. I think. Yeah, I knew it's Southampton, but it's also, I think before Southampton, we've got like Rangers, and then it's Southampton, and then it's Man United, and it's Liverpool. It's just that tough festive, isn't it? Where it's like that game every 3 days. So whether he goes strong, he can't go strong on all of them, can he? He can't go top, but I would choose personally, I would choose the strongest possible against Man United, and maybe rest a few for Southampton. And I can go strong for Man United, but that's whether Ange will or not. But that's what I would do. I think we're 3 games away from that trophy now, aren't we? So and Man City are out, and I don't think Woolwich will go strong in each game. Liverpool are going to start looking at that title. I think this is really, really, really good chance now. So yeah, go full on, go for it.
Well, as we know, the Galatasaray game will take place on Thursday. And, of course, it's another tough week because we face Ipswich on Sunday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Premier League. And then it will be the international break, the third one of the season. And we are only at the start of November. Daryll, let's come to you first. How are you feeling ahead of this Galatasaray game? We'll come to predicted lineups shortly, and we'll get the thoughts of 3 Galatasaray fans shortly as well. But how are you feeling ahead of this game? Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I think it's going to be our hardest game yet. Not only because obviously they're a good side, they're doing well in their league, they're on form, but you've got their stadium. It's going to be intimidating for the players. They're going to find it difficult. It all depends again on what team he decides to put out. If it's similar to the type of sides he's been putting out before in the Europa games, I think they can handle it, but I don't think it's going to be any pushover. I think it's going to be a difficult game without a doubt, in my opinion.
Daryll, what have you made of Tottenham in the Europa League so far this season? Because, of course, we beat Carabao 3-0, Ferencvaros 2-1 away. That was a tough game, but we got the 3 points. And, of course, we beat AZ Alkmaar recently at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 3 wins out of 3. Ange Postecoglou has made a number of changes, but these changes have worked. Players are getting game time. But as you say, and I agree with you, I think this is going to be our toughest opponent yet in the Europa League. Yeah.
Do you know what? When, especially the home games, when we go to watch them, and I look at the team sheet, and I'm thinking, we might struggle tonight. But then I'm pleasantly surprised at how well we play and how well the youngsters step up, and which tells me again that you have to trust the manager. He knows what he's doing. But again, I go into this game with tension. I don't know what to expect from it. I'm obviously we're hoping for a win. I think if we came away with a draw, I'd be happy. But I don't think we're going there to lose. I think if he takes the team and he plays a similar sides to what we played previously, like I said before, we've got that quality to come off the bench to be able to change games if we need to do that. But it's just having, are those lads experienced enough to go to a stadium and an atmosphere like that to be able to come home with a win?
Yeah. So far, this campaign, Galatasaray have played 3 games also in the Europa League, winning 2 and drawing 1. Most recently beating Elfsborg 4-3 at home. The Europa League table, Spurs are second, 9 points from 3 games. Galatasaray are currently 5th, 7 points from 3 games. In the Turkish league, Galatasaray have played 10. They sit in top of their domestic league, 9 wins and 1 draw. They have 28 points. They have scored 29 goals in those 10 games, conceding just 9, have a goal difference of plus 20. Craig, how are you feeling ahead of this game?
I think I agree with Daryll. I think this is going to be the toughest game that we've got in the Europa till hopefully, obviously, we get out of the group stage. It's not just the fact we're playing Galatasaray; it's the fact we're playing Galatasaray on their patch. I would, if you're telling me that we could have a draw and get the hell out of hell, then I would take that, because that atmosphere is going to be electric, absolutely electric on Thursday. This is obviously they would consider, I would imagine, Tottenham a big scalp like they did with Manchester United. This is a big game. It really is, and it's like I say, it's going to probably, along with Roma, it's going to be the toughest game in the group for us. It's one we can certainly win, but it's going to be tough.
James, before we get your thoughts ahead of this game against Galatasaray, let's hear from Emre from Wild West Football. I asked him to give his thoughts on this season and the key players so far.
Well, this season started as a roller coaster for Galatasaray. We faced some serious setbacks early on, like the 5-0 loss to Beşiktaş in the Turkish Super Cup. Also, being knocked out of the Champions League playoffs was quite traumatizing against young boys. Naturally, as expected, these events left the fans frustrated and skeptical, including myself. But in my opinion, the team acted fast. We restructured the roster. We sent away some of the players that were not performing well. We brought in some fresh talent, and also, a spectacular transfer. We secured Victor Osimhen on loan, which he has been a game changer for us. Since then, we found our rhythm. In the Turkish Super League, we're on an impressive run with 9 wins and 1 draw, including 2 massive derby victories against Fenerbahce and Beşiktaş. In the European League, we've started strong as well with 2 wins and a draw, which has given fans a renewed optimism, including myself. As for the key players, we have Mauro Emanuel Icardi, who's a symbol player for Galatasaray. He's like the new generation is in love with him. And he's a key part of this team, making a lot of scoring and in-game contributions. Obviously, Victor Osimhen this season, a spectacular transfer. We're trying hard to make him a permanent transfer. Let's see how that's gonna go. In the midfield, we have Torreira. We also have Gabriel Sara. You must know him from Championship last year. He played for Norwich City. He's a top talent. His recent performance. He's definitely a star player for us. It's very impressive. I'm very happy that we have him. And in the defense, we have Abdülkerim, and also we have Sanchez. Since you wanted to more about Sanchez, let me give you one quick snapshot of what he means for the team, since he's a familiar face for Spurs fans. He has been crucial for us, especially his speed, his agility, his calmness on the ball. That allows him to control the team's shape. We can set the length, the depth of the team effectively thanks to his agility and speed. We can also bring the defensive line up in the field So because he's so confident, he can easily catch up to players running behind him, right? So that gives us that level of confidence. Also, with the ball, is really part of our build-up. So we have now two options. Before it was only up to Kerim, left-footed player. Often it's more confusing for the opponents. But Sanchez, I think, is now becoming a second option, a great option. His long balls are really threatening for most of the opponents. So based on all these things, I can confidently say that he's quickly becoming an anchor for our defensive setup.
James, let's come to you on those comments, particularly about Davinson Sanchez. He has been crucial. His calmness, agility, speed, confidence, threatening long balls, an anchor for our defence. What do you make of those comments, Davinson Sanchez?
Wow, it's sort of similar to like Eric Dyer going to Bayern Munich and playing amazing and getting the first team, isn't it? I mean, is it a slightly different league, possibly? But good luck to him, man. I've always liked Sanchez, and I felt sorry for him getting booed by his own fans that time in the stadium. I think that was a bit OTT. When he got subbed as a sub, didn't he? And he got taken back off. Yeah, I hope he has a good season, just not on Thursday. So that's a slight concern if he's playing really well. But the thing that worries me more than anything is Victor Osimhen against Ben Davies. That's going to be a bit. That's a bit of having Van der Ven and Romero out. Although Ben Davies was great against Villa, I think he was Mr. Reliable, wasn't he? And he made a fantastic tackle that set up the third goal, I think it was, or the second goal. He made a fantastic tackle, didn't he, in the middle of the pitch? That's a bit of a concern because that is an incredible coup for them to get that sort of player, and reeling off them players, Torreira and in the squad as well. Yeah, it's definitely what Daryll and Craig have already touched upon. It's a very, very tough game. I would absolutely take a draw, absolutely. But whether we come to predictions later, I think it's going to be one of the first times that not really seeing a positive outcome for Tottenham on Thursday. As much as I'd like to see it, it's going to be so tough there. Playing on their pitch, we seem to be a different beast away from home in a minute. I think he's going to have to make some changes. It's a very, very tough game. And yeah, if we come out with a draw, then that's brilliant.
Daryll, what do you make of those comments, in particular about Victor Osimhen and former Spurs centre-back Davinson Sanchez? Now, if we look at some of the stats here, for Victor Osimhen. In league competition, he's played 5 matches, starting 4. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists. In the Europa League so far this season, he's started 2, hasn't scored in the Europa League as yet, but we know he has got real quality. And, of course, they are trying to sign him on a permanent transfer at the moment. You'd certainly want to keep a player like this. What do you know also about Galatasaray? Do you know much?
Not really, to be honest. I haven't really followed them until now. Like I said, I know they're doing okay in their domestic league, but obviously they've got a reputation. First of all, you know, for having to go to their stadium and to try and play a football match in that atmosphere, it's going to be intimidating for those youngsters, without a doubt. So they're going to have to dig deep. I don't think they need to worry too much about individuals. But Davinson Sanchez, we know the player so well. You know, is he standing out for their side? Do you know what I mean? You know, what is the standard? What is the level there within that team? You know, like James said, good luck to him. I hope he does well there. And, you know, but I don't think we should be worried in that respect. You know, they've got some good players. Yes, Torreira, we know him, but I think we have better. I think we you know, apart from their front man, who's probably their biggest threat, player for player, I don't think we have anything to worry about. It's going to be all about on the night and whether those players can handle that intimidating atmosphere and be able to play the football that they can play.
With that, Daryll, when we went to Ferencvaros, of course, we got the result in the end, 2-1, but it wasn't an easy game. No, there is no easy game away from home in European competition, is there? Because a lot of Spurs fans going into that game were saying, we're going to win 3-0, 4-0. It's never easy, though, is it?
No, because at the same time, he's trying to find the manager. I mean, he's trying to find that balance between giving those squad players minutes, bringing the youngsters through, and who he's going to play at the weekend. So he has to balance that, and he has to assess the opposition each week, and as those games come up. So, like I said before, you know, if he decides to go with a similar team as he's been going with in the Europa games, we still have that quality. If we're 1-0 down at half time, if we're 2-0 down, we still have that quality that can come off the bench at half time and be able to change the game. So, you know, and I think those players are a higher standard, higher level. They're Premier League players than any of the Galatasaray players have got in their team. So I would still be pretty confident of coming away with at least a draw from there.
I'll tell you what, we're very lucky today. We've got 3 absolutely fantastic insights and previews from 3 Galatasaray accounts. Sosyal from Galatasaray Facts is up next. They have got a huge X account, 300,000+ followers on their account. Let's get his thoughts ahead of this match.
Galatasaray has a very strong lineup this season. They have 2 great strikers like Osimhen and Mauro Icardi. The team is so powerful on offense, but they can experience some difficulties on defense side in some matches, especially when they play on the opponent's field. They neglect the defense and have difficulties after. 10 players have the ability to score a goal, and the statistic shows that Galatasaray is better at team play rather than individual performances. Galatasaray's manager Okan Buruk is one of the 2000 UEFA Cup champions with Galatasaray, winning the UEFA Cup against Arsenal. Okan Buruk is a coach who has won the Turkish League by breaking records for the last 2 seasons. He has a very high possibility of working Europe in the future. Davinson Sanchez is one of the best players on the team right now. He is indispensable defender for Galatasaray. Galatasaray fans are used to get great wins. Also, they are confident in the good performance of the team this year. So my answer is yes. Galatasaray is a motivated team who wants to dominate the game in Europe matches. They have a game mentality that presses from the front and stresses out their opponent. Galatasaray fans are aware ability of Tottenham. They have been following Tottenham matches for about 3 weeks. If Galatasaray makes a mistake, Tottenham can get very hard to beat. Galatasaray has very special players. There are Icardi and Osimhen as very powerful strikers. In defense, Lucas Torreira and Davinson Sanchez are so important. Of course, there are many fans who like the new format, but I don't think it's good for the players' health. Galatasaray desires to play superior game no matter who the opponent is. Their technique is to press in the front area to gain in the score advantage quickly. They played incredibly against Bayern Munich and Manchester United last season. I think they will come out with this mentality against Tottenham. Spurs have very good players. Every single player has a capability. So I think Tottenham's gameplay is very obvious. In this case, Galatasaray will be define the score of the match. It's literally like how Galatasaray fans support their team passionately for 90 minutes to win. Regardless of their opponent, I can guarantee you that it will be so noisy. I recommend bringing headphones. It's not possible for me to make an exact lineup, but my guess is Muslera, Ayhan, Sanchez, Bardakci, Jakobs, Sara, Torreira, Yilmaz, Yunus, Mauro Icardi, and Osimhen at the front. but my prediction is that there will be 1-0 Galatasaray.
Craig, let's come to you. What do you know about Galatasaray and their key players, and what have you made of these previews so far? Does it make you feel more nervous by hearing these previews from these Galatasaray fans?
Look, this was the game when it was drawn. This was the game that I thought that we'd probably struggle in the most purely because of the atmosphere, like he was talking about there, and the fact that the fans just get behind the team no matter what for 90 minutes. But that's why an early goal perhaps from us would be key in this game if we have any desires to win it. I don't know tons about their players, to be honest, and perhaps Daryll was right in what he said. And they say they see Davinson Sanchez as one of their best players. I'm with James. I love Davinson Sanchez. I felt sorry for him when he did get booed by the fans. I was quite vocal on here about it. It's obviously a player that we know all about. He's fast, he's strong, a very important player for Galatasaray. Always prone to an error, as we well know at Tottenham. So I'm hoping he makes a few errors on Thursday evening. But look, he seems to have found his feet in Turkey, and it would just be typical if he scored against us, wouldn't it? That would be the most Tottenham thing ever. But the two players that for me, the ones that are perhaps the most well known, the ones I've highlighted before, Victor Osimhen. Really weird that he went to Galatasaray. I think it kind of shocked the football world. Obviously, he won a Scudetto with Napoli, and then couldn't get a loan. It was supposed to go to PSG, and Chelsea were in the frame, and of course the window shut, and then he ended up in Galatasaray on loan, and then they just obviously want to sign him. And why wouldn't you? He's a class striker. He's strong. He's quick. He's got strength. He's got pace. An eye for goal. To be honest, he'd be great in Angie's system. I remember when he came on the market, I thought, why aren't we going for him? I thought he'd be absolutely great in Angie's system, and of course he's got a few goals and assists this season as well. So he's one to watch. And the other one is Mario Icardi, bit of a journeyman player, 31 years old, Argentinian, been at many clubs across Europe, to be honest, in Spain, Italy, and France, and was on loan from PSG in the 2022-23 season, and then signed permanently for him the year after. It was touted that Osimhen and Icardi wouldn't work together. It's either one or the other, but they seem to have been dovetailing really well and complementing each other really well. And I think people were surprised about that, but they really do play well as a pair. He's look, wherever our centre backs are, they're going to be in for a tough night. His work rate is good. He finds positions and creates his own chances a lot of the time. They're both strong players as well, Icardi and Osimhen. So the Spurs defenders are going to be. They're going to know they're in a game. What's interesting, I had to look this up, but I seem to think that there's been a fair few Tottenham players that have crossed at some point between Tottenham and Galatasaray. There's actually been 8. It's Sergio Aurier, Jedson Fernandez, remember him? Tanguy and Ndombele. Sorry, Galatasaray fans, that we sent you him. Georgi Popescu, the older fans remember him. Davinson Sanchez, of course. Carlos Vinicius, DeAndre Yedlin, and Giovanni Dos Santos. So there's a couple of names from the past. So 8 players in total have played for both clubs. So bit of linkage there.
Yeah, Sergio Aurier is still looking for a club, released in the summer. Craig, one interesting thing is when I go to a lot of these opposition fans to give these previews, a lot of these guys so far this season in the this is our 4th Europa League game, all the fans from the opposition are always surprised that I ask the question, are you going to go strong? And they always come back and say, of course we're going to go strong. European competition means the world to us. And it means the world to Galatasaray, these European games. So they are going to go with a strong 11.
Yeah. I'm not sure we're going to, as we'll come on to our predictions a bit later on. But He's quite right. It's a European trophy. It's one of the top European trophies. You can only go one better than this, right? Galatasaray it's well within their ability to win this tournament, and they are going to be there or thereabouts. They're going to qualify. 100%, they're going to qualify. And then it's if we draw them again, of course. That's going to be even tougher game should we draw them in the knockout stages. So I think we've got to put a marker down in this game. But as I've said, at this stage, I would be so happy with a draw. I would take a draw now against Galatasaray away.
James, before we come to you and we'll go through predicted 11s, we've got a short clip again from Emre from Wild West Football. I asked him the question, what can we expect at the stadium?
What can traveling fans expect in terms of the stadium atmosphere in Istanbul? Welcome to the hell. Just kidding. Well, I'm not sure if you heard of the term welcome to the hell. That used to be a historical slogan for the team, for the team when we play our home games against a visiting team. So that's what we describe our stadium as hell. I'm not sure it's the most friendly term as the in our age and day, but I would expect nothing but a very intense atmosphere. Our fans will make it an electrifying, passionate, if not intimidating experience for the away team. That's for sure. That's given. For the Spurs fans making the trip, Turkish people are famous with their hospitality, but I'd say embrace it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to witness such a passionate support for a team. It's all part of the magic of our European nights in Istanbul. So enjoy it. Hopefully you'll have a fantastic game. Hopefully Galatasaray will win, but we will watch together a fantastic game. That's what I wish for.
Welcome to the hell. James, I think we need you in the away end getting the crowd going.
Yeah, so the guitar smashed over the edge. Yeah, I remember that slogan as well. It was all over the papers, wasn't it, in the 90s? All that "Welcome to Hell" thing started off, wasn't it? Yeah, it's just going to be so intimidating, and that mixture with what I guess we all probably think. I don't know. I've not seen anyone else's predictions, but it's going to be quite a young side. The flip side of that is these kids that say some of these kids that he does put out, they're going to really learn about European football in 90 minutes because they are going to go strong. I think they're in this Europa League. Hopefully, we look at this a little bit as well. You win them home games, you're through no matter what. Anyway, you win them 4 home games, and I think after 4 games, I think it all evens out 2 home, 2 away. So they're going to go strong to get them points. And plus, you touched on it earlier at the start, Chris, that beating Tottenham is a massive coup for them, and just as it was with Man United. I think they're going to really go for it. I think it's going to be a very, very, very tough game and in a very, very tough atmosphere. But then we do have an incredible away support as well that are so vocal. So I think they'll play a massive game and pick our players up. But yeah, it's going to be one of those sort of ones. I think a little bit that game. Maybe watching it through your fingers. It depends on the lineup. What is it? 5:45.
5:45 UK time.
Yeah, for UK time. So yeah, that lineup I want to see a bit stronger than the Carabao and Fenerbahce, or it was in Alkmaar. I want to see a stronger lineup, even if it's just slightly, just a stronger lineup, because that is going to be very, very tough if you throw all too many kids in.
Right. Well, let's talk about the lineups. I've asked James, Daryll, and Craig to give me 2 lineups, their predicted lineup. That they think Ange Postecoglou will go with, and the lineup that they would like to see Ange put out. James, this is your one. Expected lineup: Forster, Udogie, Davis, Dragushin, Gray, Bentancur, Maddison, Bergvall, Timo Werner, Lancashire, and more. And this would be your team if you could choose it: Vicario, Udogie, Davis, Dragushin, Gray, Basuma, Maddison, Bergvall, Werner, Kulusevski as a number 9, and Mikey Moore. James, talk us through these 2 lineups.
I know it's a bit mad, but I think in pre-season, well, obviously Solanke needs some sort of rest. We ain't got Sonny, and I thought Richarlison was going to be injured after seeing him pulled up. So having Kulusevski up the top in such a, like I said, in a terrible atmosphere, or having too many kids in with Lancashire thrown in with Moore as well as Bergvall and Gray there. Just having a bit more experience up there. And he done well in pre-season up there. I know Kulu needs a rest as well. But after Ipswich, you've got a bit of a break. Mind you, it's an international thing, but a bit more of a break. So, yeah, I'd like to see, at least for 45, Kulusevski up there, then taken off for maybe a Lancashire if we get a few goals out of it. But, yeah, he really impressed me when he was up there for a bit in pre-season. I don't think at all that he's going to do it. It's just a mad thought that I kind of had with all the injuries in that position and not playing too many kids really in this full-on atmosphere. But yeah, I think he will go with blood and quite a few youngsters. I think he will change quite a bit. I think we've seen that quite a bit anyway. But yeah, that's what I think he'll go for. I think he'll have Lancashire up top.
James, when you talk about Kulusevski, of course, we've played 10 in the Premier League so far. He started 9, he scored 2 and got 2 assists. In the Europa League, though, in the 3 matches so far, he hasn't started any of them. He's played 87 minutes. With Will Lancashire, wasn't on the bench at the weekend, and he did start against Ferencvaros. Are you surprised that someone like Will Lancashire hasn't had many minutes? And do you think that Mikey Moore could start the game? Do you think that Ange will give him another start?
Yeah, I think he will start Mikey Moore. And like I said, I think this as well. I think he will start Lancashire, but I think the Lancashire one, I don't think he's as impressed as he is like with Mikey Moore and sort of see it ready for this action. But it might be his hand forced a little bit if Solanke needs some sort of rest. The amount of work Solanke does is just outrageous, and he's not like a real youngster. I know he's young, but he's not like a real youngster. He's going to need some rest. He's not just the normal striker poaching in the box. He does incredible work rate, and he's going to have either rest here or rest Ipswich, I'm sure. And Richarlison pulled up, didn't he, with an injury? So you take Richarlison and Solanke out, and you take the fact that it's a Europa League game. I think them 3 things together to me pointed towards whether we will go with Lancashire. I'd like to see a bit more experience in there, which is why I put in Kulusevski based off that pre-season. But I think we're becoming a little bit thin there, aren't we, for that position? If we have to rest and we have got them injuries. I don't know if Richarlison is definitely out, though. I heard that he most probably will be. Is there any news on that? Is he definitely out?
We don't know any concrete news on that, but I think it's very likely that he's going to spend a little bit of time out, which is extremely frustrating. We said on the podcast post Villa game that he produced a great assist, and of course that's how he got his injury. Ended up going on.
He's perfect for that game as well, Richarlison.
Yeah,
perfectly for that. He's got that sort of way about him, for Galatasaray away kind of attitude, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a terrible loss at his. But those teams were based on the fact that I don't think Richarlison makes it.
Daryl, let's come to you. This is the starting 11 that you think Ange Postecoglou is going to go with. Forster, Udogie, Davis, Dragushin, Gray, Basuma, Bergvall, Bentancur, Timo Werner, Richarlison and Johnson. Of course, we don't know whether Richarlison will be playing in this game or not. And this is the team that you would like to see put out. Vicario, Udogie, Dragushin, Romero, Porro. Romero is out injured, actually. Basuma, Kulusevski, Sarr, Son, Solanke and Brennan Johnson. An interesting one that you've put Heung-min Son in because, of course, he has just come back from injury. As the guys have already mentioned during the stream, of course, Ange took him off. Ange said in the post-match press conference he was never going to play more than 55 to 60 minutes, but what a ball he put in. Do you think it is highly likely that he could start this game?
Maybe. I think he may use him to lay down a marker. And if he's only got 55 or one half in him, then put him off. As I said to before, I think it's important we go and try and kill that game off in the first half. So we need to put out a strong, not the strongest team, but we need to put out a strong 11 to be able to do that. And it's got to be full of a good mix, a good balance of youngsters. But at the same time, we need that experience there to be able to handle that atmosphere they're going to be playing in. So I think Bergvall in the middle, we need some sort of creativity there. But also we've got the stability of Bissouma and Bentancur either side playing through the middle. Werner, I think he'll just get stuck in up and down that wing. May not produce too much, but he'll cause some problems, as will Johnson. So I think the back four there with Dragosan and Davies, that's obviously the best we've got available. Gray, obviously we need to give minutes to. So I think for me that's what we'll go with. So something similar to that. Mikey Moore, I think we need him to come off the bench. We always need him available. Give him some more minutes, but I think the game needs to be done by the time he comes on.
Daryll, what have you made of Radu Dragushin in a Spurs shirt so far? Because he's had very limited minutes, but this is the time, isn't it? Mickey van der Ven and Romero both out. You've got to grab your opportunity. Yeah,
I've been impressed, to be honest, with the minutes. Obviously, the red card in the Europa game was unfortunate, perhaps a bit careless. But I think other than that, I thought he was solid against Villa. I thought he had a good game. He's not one of those you think Romero or Mickey van der Ven's gone off and he's a second-hand replacement. I don't see him like that. I see him. He's a good quality player, and I think any other team would be pleased to have him.
Craig, let's come to you. You've only given one lineup here because this is your predicted lineup, and this is what you would like to see happen. Vicario, Udogie, Davis, Dragushin, Gray, Bissouma, Maddison, Bergvall, Timo Werner, Lancashire, and Mikey Moore. So you've gone for 4 youngsters in this starting 11.
Yeah, I know it seems a bit of a risk playing Lancashire and Moore, but a bit of a baptism of fire essentially. But I just think why not? Why not? Just give them a go. Give them a go. This game we know is going to be tough. I'd personally like to see Gray in that centre midfield role. We've not really seen him in there yet, but that's pretty much what I expect Ange to go. I was umming and ahhing. I don't know about Son, whether he'll play Son. I would imagine Werner is definitely going to come in. Mikey Moore or Son. I couldn't make my mind. I'll put Moore in there. And I think because Richarlison's injured, I think Lancashire has to play. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to play. So, yeah, big game for all the youngsters. But I think Davies and Dragushin look like a very comfortable pairing. I think that pairing, Davies and Dragushin, looks better than Davies and Romero, to be honest. I'd be interested to see Davies and Van der Ven. I'm not sure they've ever played together. I'm not sure how that would work. But Davies and Dragushin seem to complement each other pretty well. So I'm quite comfortable with that.
Craig, are you surprised that Lucas Bergvall hasn't had more game time under Ange? Of course, he's still only 18. He's played 5 matches in the Premier League so far, but only a total of 46 Premier League minutes. In the Europa League, he's had 150 minutes so far, providing 1 assist. And in the League Cup, 62 minutes. Would you like to see more of him?
I think he's... if you're comparing him with Archie Gray, I think Gray is probably a little bit further along on his journey than Bergvall is. Obviously, Gray's come from an English league. He's come from the Championship. Bergvall's obviously come from Sweden. I just think it's all about learning English football, where he hasn't had that experience and that knowledge. He's just a little bit further behind. And obviously, his role is a creative role, so there's more sort of onus on him. His work he gets through, you're going to be able to notice perhaps an off performance more than Archie Gray. Plus, I think Archie Gray, like I say, is a bit further along. So expect him to get more minutes as the season goes on. He's only 18. So I would imagine from next season, he'll probably become more of a starting role. But a bit like Pat Matassar was, of course. Now look at him; he's all action man up and down the pitch. So yeah, it's all about having a squad, though, isn't it? And a squad that can come in and not weaken your starting 11. And he's certainly well on the way to becoming that.
Before I ask my final question to the three of you, which of course will be the score prediction, let's hear from another guy who knows Turkish football inside out.
Hello everyone, this is Hakan Cebeci from Istanbul. I am a former football player and I am a fan of both Galatasaray and Tottenham. I want to talk about Galatasaray. Galatasaray's performance first of all. Gala has shown impressive form this season in both the Turkish Super League and the European competitions. They currently sit at the top of the Super League with excellent scoring stats and a strong defensive record, conceding less than a goal per match. In Europe, they have advanced to the knockout stage in the Europa League with a solid start, showing both resilience and strategic play across their group matches. Manager and the key players. Manager Okan Buruk is a former Gala player, a legend, bringing a balance of offensive prowess and defensive solidity to Galatasaray. Key players include Mauro Icardi, a prolific striker and the club's top scorer, along with Victor Osimhen, who has also made his mark. Davinson Sanchez, also a former Tottenham player, has been crucial in defense, adding experience and stability at the back, and we love him very much. So what about the Gala fans, their confidence? Confidence against Tottenham. Gala fans are optimistic generally about facing Tottenham, especially given their strong home form and the intense atmosphere they create at home matches. They are hopeful for a positive result, but recognize Tottenham quality. It's a tough game and it will be hard for Tottenham. Europa League games. Galatasaray's Europa League journey has been condemnable so far. They have been tactically flexible, adjusting their approach based on the opponent, which has allowed them to perform well in a competitive group. On the other hand, Tottenham's season and Europa League, Tottenham has had a strong season domestically with their new manager, Ange Postecoglou, focuses on an attacking, possession-based style. In the European League, Spurs have used a rotated lineup but remained competitive, aiming to progress through the group stage smoothly. My favorites for the competition and format, Galatasaray and Tottenham are among the clubs expected to progress far, but with teams like Liverpool and Roma also in the mix. The competition is intense. The new format has increased the unpredictability of the group stages, adding excitement. Expected game and tactics. On Thursday, we can expect Galatasaray to focus on a solid defensive setup, likely aiming to absorb pressure and counter-attack. Okan Buruk may deploy a midfield heavy formation to control the tempo and use the flanks for quick breaks. Gala will choose a more full-strength lineup, especially considering their strong desire to perform well in front of their home fans and secure progression. The atmosphere in Istanbul, Ranspark Stadium in Istanbul, is known for its electric and intimidating atmosphere with passionate fans who create one of the most vibrant home environments in Europe. We call it hell, and we say all the opponents welcome to hell.
We call it hell. We heard it again. James, let's come to you. Let's get your score prediction ahead of this game against Galatasaray away on Thursday evening.
I'm going to go 1-1, and I'm going to be happy for that as well. I think that's the best for me. I think it's the best we can get out of that. I'm going to go 1-1.
Daryl, what are you going for?
Yeah, same with James, really. 1-1. I'll be happy with 1-1. If we can scrape an untidy 1-0, I'll take that all day. But I think it's going to be so difficult. I think 1-0 is the best we're going to get there. I don't think it's going to be for the goals, if I'm honest. So 1-0 is my prediction.
Daryl, overall in the Europa League, would you say that Spurs are one of the favourites in the competition to win it?
I wouldn't have said that from day one. As the tournament progresses and we play more games and we meet more teams, I'm gaining more confidence. I think we can go quite far in it. Yeah, particularly that there's no teams coming into it now. It's just the pool of teams that there are. That's it. And we're slowly learning who's who and who the good teams are, and I think we're one of them. Yeah.
Craig, what are you going for?
Yeah, I'm much the same. I think it's going to be a 3-0 Spurs win. No, I don't. I think it's actually. I'm going to go 2-2. I was going to say 1-1, but I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 2-2. Yeah.
Well, thank you to the 3 guests that we have had on, the Galatasaray fans. They've given excellent previews, and a couple of them have been shortened down for this preview show. So do check them out on the main channel and also available on audio platforms. So thank you so much to those 3 guys. James, thank you so much for coming back. You're always very welcome on here. Always enjoy watching and listening to you singing. Where can people find you and what you're up to next?
Thank you for having me on. It's amazing, and well done on your debut, Daryl. You're incredible. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
They can. I'll be playing an Ipswich game. I'll be at the White Hart Bar, level 5, block 525 on Sunday. And before that, you can find me on the Voice of Spurs and the album that's on Spotify. It's got a Spotify, iTunes, and just put in the Voice of Spurs, and you'll have the whole album on there. If you can stream it, anybody's listening wants a pre-game listen, post-game listen. It's all live from the Tottenham Stadium and chants with the actual Spurs fans singing. So have a little listen to that as well if you get time. Thank you.
I'll come and see you and say hello on Sunday, James. So yeah, keep up the great work, and thank you so much for coming back. And I echo what James said, Daryl. Great debut on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. Where can people find you?
Sunday at the ground. In the West End, just loving it, buzzing it, just hoping we can scratch up another win.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Look forward to having you on again very soon. And Craig, as per usual, thank you so much.
No worries at all. Yeah, pleasure as always. Be back on Sunday against Ipswich, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, Craig's dodged out of Thursday's one because he only wants to come on for the wins now. But then saying that, hopefully Spurs can continue this winning run, and hopefully we can go to Galatasaray to Istanbul on Thursday and get another 3 points in the Europa League. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Remember that all of these podcasts are also available on audio platforms. Craig, James, Daryl, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on the next one live from Istanbul Thursday night. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.